all the people I've coached and know how much I love them. So I wanted to start with that, and then also want to congratulate all the people going into the Nebraska Hall of Fame this weekend. Obviously, one being Brett Maher. They're all special, but Brett obviously has done a great job coaching for us, and he continues to do a great job coaching for us. It's been awesome having him. He was all Big Ten is both a punter and a kicker. Yes. Yeah, so that's hard to do. So, but he's making a real mark. So I'm proud of him as a coach. So with that, I'll take whatever you guys got.
I guess you mentioned 9/11. What were your memories from that day in 2001?
Yeah, I was at UCLA at the time, and I remember I was driving in. I had like a Honda 250 scooter type thing, and I was driving in, and I don't remember how, somewhere along the way I stopped and I heard the news that like a small plane, but like I obviously have a ton of friends there and people working working down there in the financial district and all those things. And so I just remember the helpless feeling of being in LA, watching it on the TV that was in the main area of the UCLA football offices, and just very surreal. I remember the team voting, whether we should practice that day or not. Something any of us had a real idea of just how significant of an event it was at the time, and just how lonely and homesick I felt. And then obviously the plane goes, Flight 93 goes down in Pennsylvania. My parents were there at the time. My sister was there. That's not too far from my grandmother and all those people. So just obviously a lot of personal ties. And you're on the West Coast and you feel so far away. So, but yeah, obviously a tragic day. And my wife's sister Cheryl passed away on TWA 800, which unfortunately went down over the coast of Long Island. And Father Michael Judge was a tremendous source of comfort for Julie and her parents and her family. So at that time, you really saw like almost the invasive nature. When that happens, like you have 200, 300 cameras on your lawn, and you're going through the most amazing grief. She was part of the French Club from Montoursville. I think 21 people from the town of Montoursville perished on that flight. And but Father Michael Judge in New York City was a tremendous source of spiritual. I don't know what the right. I don't know the right word. I wouldn't do it justice. He was there for them, and so he meant a lot to their family and to Julie's family. And at the time, Julie and I were just starting dating, right? And he perished in. He was the priest that went in to begin to be with all the workers that were working in the towers, the rescue workers, and he perished in that. So, I remember this past year, they have the reflection pools outside 9/11, just going and walking around it, finding his name. I remember Ron Brown was doing the same thing because someone he went to college or high school with passed away. So just seeing those names and seeing that legacy, and but for Father Judge, just how much he meant to Julie and her parents. It was just brings those things to life, like you have this terrible tragedy, and then it's in the most public way, how hard that was. So I thought on our trip, I've never been probably more proud of our team than when we went there. That's a memorial. It's not a field trip, and our guys, I thought they showed tremendous respect and interest. Not many of them were alive. I think only Javen was alive. I remember Ty Robinson telling me he had just been born, which made me feel old when that happened, when we had the 9/11. But so that's just kind of some of my memories of it.
It's well to talk about not letting up last week and into this week. Has the team responded the way that you would hope to? Has the attention to detail been where you'd want it?
Yeah, and not letting up, that's probably an outside thing. Like for us, we're just trying to get better. It's all continue to improve, there's so many things we have to improve. Before every accident, there was a warning. There's all these things on tape. If you just remove the emotion, you're like, gosh, that's not good enough, and that's not good enough, or that's better than I thought. So we're just trying to be very surgical. So this was a week about improving to get ready to play Houston Christian, and improving to improve our football team. And so I felt this week that everything got better, but you never know till Saturday, right? It'll be our first day game, which I know that question was asked earlier, and you have to get up and you have to wake up ready to go on morning games. One of the reasons that the video went out of what I said at halftime, which I meant, And one of the reasons I was happy it was out, to be quite honest with you, is because I want that standard set. That's what, that's how you're supposed to play. You go back to remember my first year, we beat Louisiana Tech. I were beating them somewhat convincingly, and then there was a rain delay. And we went in for the lightning delay, not rain delay, lightning delay. We went in for the lightning delay and came back out, and they scored a touchdown. I was just like, man, where is the killer instinct on us? And so that's not something you just have. Like, you have to be good enough that it matters. Like, you can have all the killer instinct in the world. If you're not very good, then it doesn't matter. But I think we've been building that, and I just was really pleased that they did it last week. But this is a whole new game. I go into every game thinking, hey, let's win this game 17-16. Like, expecting a battle. I know these coaches. These coaches are winners. Like, they're going to do an excellent job. And so I'm expecting us, no matter what the score is, I'm expecting us to play better than we played last week. And if we don't play better than we played last week, we wasted a week. So that sometimes you play better in a loss. Sometimes you beat someone 45-14 and you don't play better. So that's been the whole challenge. I think the week has been an excellent week. No distractions from the guys at practice. They've done a great job, and I've been very pleased. But we'll see what it's like on Saturday. I always make sure I say that. I got to say, there's nothing worse than coaches saying, well, we had a great week. A great week just gives you a chance, and then you got to get yourself ready to play. And then, good teams throw you curveballs. You have to adapt.
Did you have any thoughts or opinion on the transfer portal one window of January that's starting to gain some traction?
Thank goodness, yeah. I mean, I want kids to have a chance to transfer if they're unhappy, if they're not in the right setup. So I want them to have that. But 2 portal windows, I mean, it's just torture. It's like to me, like, the season's over. You set your year for the next year, and then you build your team, right? And for the players, they set where they're going, and then they build their team. And so, the thing about transfer, if a kid wants to transfer, they're probably going to go in the portal in the first couple days, right? They're going to go on day 1, day 2. What happens is that teams lose a guy, or they thought they were getting so-and-so, and he goes somewhere else, and then they go and they try to convince people to go in the portal to fix their needs. That's not in the best interest of the player, right? Like, that's not, if a kid's happy, he should just stay there. And if he's unhappy, he should go in the portal. So I don't know why we need, 27 days. I don't know why we need 2 portal windows. But again, this is all legal things. This isn't like coaches, this is all legal things. And so I'm happier about it. I wish it matched the financial year. So we're paying players, from July to July, from July 1st to June 31st, but yet the portal's in the middle of the year. Like, it's so easy to me in college. Like, we just have the NFL, the best run, most parity, best league in the world. And they have the best TV viewership. They have everything. Why don't we just do everything that the NFL does? And so they have a league year, comes to an end. You have a tampering period, you have free agency, then you have a draft. We pay guys from June to July, but they can leave in January. I mean, that makes no sense. And now you're trying to, just wait what's going to happen. You're going to have some coaches that get fired, and the new coach comes in, and he's trying to build his team in the January portal, and they have no money left. And he's going to be like, then you're going to have people writing waivers, and it's going to be just, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, whenever free agency is, which is what the portal is, free agency, that should be the financial year. But I say that in the Big Ten meetings. People look at me like I have 3 heads. So I'm like, all right, whatever, just do what you want. We'll be fine here. We got a great setup. We got really smart people. Pat's doing an amazing job. Logan Holgerson's doing an amazing job. Keith Williams, Troy Vincent, our personnel department's awesome. Jonathan Bateman does a great job. And then Troy has vision. Haven has vision. So we have the right people in the athletic administration helping us. So it doesn't matter as much to me. I just like to see the game make sense. But the 1 portal window, it's better because, you basically go in December and then you set a contract with somebody, and then they come back to you in May and like, hey, I might leave again. You're like, well, we just signed it. And then you have to re-sign a contract. And it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm glad they fixed it. And basketball had 1. So I was like, well, why does basketball have 1 and we have 2? So I'm happy.
You've been very complimentary of Dylan's work pre-snap and kind of how he's grown there. Can you maybe speak to how much more he's doing now in that role versus maybe what he was doing at the end of last season and how he's kind of grown?
He was doing a lot last year. I think from day 1 we've done it with him. I just think he's, it's only this will be game 16 for him. I mean, he's still so young in his journey. He's just doing it at such an advanced level. And he can come out and he can say, oh, it's man, I'm going to go to this. It's 2 man, I'm going to go to that. It's so as a play caller, you can give him things and you can call a play, and if it's not the right play, he's going to get you into the better play. No, he's just not picking for whatever. I mean, they've given it to him. But I think he did a lot of it last year. I just think that we've elevated it and we've added more things, and then the team's just a lot better. You know, the offense, the guys, even the guys were here last year. They're just playing a lot better. You know, we're better up front. We're better at a lot of positions, so he can get to checks, and guys aren't missing them. They're not. We're just another year into it. I think where you see a lot of growth from him is in the flipping of protections too, because as I said, there's a couple steps to it. First, a lot of guys come out and they play quarterback. So who am I throwing the ball? And they get blitzed in the face, get hit in the face, and they have no idea. And then the next level up is to understand, hey, two guys come over here, I'm hot, I've got to get the ball in my hand. That's where a lot of guys play in college. The next step is, hey, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to check the protection, and I'm going to protect myself. He's at the fourth step, and it happened after Iowa going into Boston College. Iowa did a great job. They kept blitzing the back, keeping the back in, and then he had no relief when the guys weren't open. And he started, after that game, going into Boston College, he was now flipping the protection, even when he knew there wasn't a problem, to the guy he thought was coming so that the back could get out. And so he's way up here right now. Last week, Akron brought a zero blitz. They came all out, and he kind of drifted to his right away from who he knew was free, and he hit Ja'Cory on a wide depart fade down the left sideline. So, sometimes even as you're watching the game, like you might be like, why'd they call that play? It's like a third and whatever. He threw the ball to Wood against Cincinnati, like on the 40-yard line, 45-yard line. He saw what the coverage was. He checked to a little screen, threw it to Wood, and hoping he breaks the tackle. Bonner gets tackled, goes to fourth through. That's when I decided to. I can't remember if I went for that one or punted that one, but I guess my point is like, you can call the play. You can call an aggressive pass play, and if he's going to get overwhelmed with the pressure, he's going to check to something to get you out of it. So I just think it's the same. It's all the same words as last year. There's nothing like Dana didn't reinvent the offense. It's all the same things. It's just we try to do what he does well. We try to do what our players do well, and I think he's taking these things to another level in terms of, hey, call the play. I'll get you in the right play if it's not right.
What challenge does Jason's team present this Saturday?
Well, I think you have to start with their defense and what they've done defensively. They give you a ton of different looks, okay? And so, I think there was one drive in the first 6 plays were 6 different fronts, and so you're constantly seeing different pictures. It's the way we play defense. So I think that presents a real challenge. They show different coverages. They've got some excellent football players. They have a kid 6 who I think is as good a player as you'll see. And so getting in the right play, knowing our issues, and converting on third down. They've only given up 1 conversion so far this year, and so that's difficult to do. Offensively, they're gonna run the football and with different runs than we normally see. They run counter, they run a stretch lead, they run insert. So some plays that we need to see, the quarterback's a good player. So I think the biggest challenge though is when you go against the defense that's had that level of success. If they don't turn the ball over as many times as they did in the last game, they probably win the game. And so. When someone turns the ball over that many times, you're pretty sure they probably practiced it all week. It's not like it's like the flu that you can't get rid of it. Like I'm sure they emphasize it. So we're not counting on getting turnovers. We're counting on having to play great defense and sustain drives, keep people out of the red zone, touchdown, hold them to field goals, and so that's been our overall emphasis the whole week. And we have to do just for us. We have to do a better job of getting to the quarterback. Now, the teams have been getting rid of the ball pretty quickly, but we've got to get to the quarterback when it comes down to those drop back, long yardage, or if they decide to just make it a drop back game, we have to be better.
How impressive is what Gunnar Gatula did? I mean, he starts 9 games last year, then he has that surgery, which I'm sure was a bummer when he knows there's competition at that spot coming in, and just what he's done to put himself in the spot he is now.
Yeah, he's an excellent player. I mean, I think if he was if he was from somewhere else and had offers from other people would be like, I think when I got here, I watched him on tape. I was like, well, this guy's a 4-star player. He's excellent, long arms, tough. It's just, I don't know. I think he's always been a good player. He went in. What he did, the hardest thing that he ever did to me was he went in against Illinois. He was third, and all of a sudden he was first, and he went out there and he played well. And that's really hard when you put that thing up against your body for those many weeks. To your point. But Gunner's a guy like we didn't know where he was going to start, but I was pretty sure he was going to be a starter for us. And I don't think he couldn't play center. I don't think he couldn't play guard. I think he could play either tackle. And so he's just an impressive young man, and we've got him for a long time here. He's a young player, and so happy to see his development. And I think it just speaks a lot to, and I know Teddy got up and I think he said something to you guys like, there's no place I'd rather be hurt. It was kind of a weird statement, but it's true. You know, Mitch got a call from one of the kids who went in the portal, Mitch who does our sports science, and he was asking him questions. He's like, hey, at my new school, I'm hurt. You know, what should I do? And, you know, we just don't have what you guys had there. And so, you know, we just have such resources, and Drew Hamlin and our doctor situations, elite, our training situations, elite, and they care. And so, you know, a guy like Gunnar not just comes back, but he comes back better. You know, he comes back stronger in all these other areas. So, but I just think he's an excellent player. I just think, you know, because he's a local kid, maybe you know, we just take him for granted. Oh, he'll go to Nebraska. The thing is, when we find a local player that we want, and we think, you know, hey, that's a Husker, we've just tried to make sure we recruit them like not with like, oh, he'll come here, right? We've recruited them. We've tried to, whether it's Carter Nelson or the kids we're recruiting moving forward, recruit them like you know, we're last on his list. And I was here just for the end of Gunnar, but a great family, you know, coach's kid, and I think he's going to be a really good player in the Big Ten for a while.
I think last week you said Malcolm Hartzog got dinged up. Is he doing? You expect him to play as usual?
Yeah, he'll be questionable for the game.
I guess with that, Jameer Khan played, I think, as many snaps as any defensive back. What do you think of his performance and just filling in that role?
Yeah, well, Jameer's an excellent player. He's done a great job. We have, you know, if Malcolm can't go, you know, we also have some other lineups we can go with. Some other guys, you know, we'll move it around. You know, we had a package last year where Donnie Jones went in the game, but Jameer's tough, physical, smart. Has done a great job for us on special teams, and was ready when his number was called. So we'll John. I think John and Addison. I mean, our defensive back plays been really good through 2 games, and I think John, Addison, Phil Snow, and Adam DeMichael, you know, they've done a great job of working with each player, because we do so many different things with our guys that we've cross-trained them. That I think Jameer's coming on, but we also, you know, Sierra, Marshall, Donnie are playing, Buford, short tackler. I mean, just done a great job, and Deshaun played his best, you know, one of his best games last week.
Dave Moore has come up a couple times throughout the week after Saturday's game. What just stood out to him when you were recruiting him out of the portal? Just because he obviously didn't have college tape to.
Yeah, Troy Vincent did a great job of, like, hey, you know, we had to go back and watch, like, I think he had a couple practice clips, and we had to watch like some high school tape. He was a really good player coming out, and just, you know, had some injury history, and so, you know, guy just needed a fresh start, you know, and had a good spring when he was able to get back out there. Then he was out for the whole summer. He literally didn't practice till last week. Last week on Tuesday was his first actual practice. So he hasn't done anything yet in terms of practice wise. So, but he's got really long arms. He's explosive, and he's a smart young man, and he cares. So I would just think that you'd probably see Gabe's development accelerate, because now that he's practicing and playing, and I think he's going to be a pivotal piece. You know, we just have to keep him healthy. You know, he's got a lot of work to do there just to continually stay healthy. But he's one of those guys we were counting on of, hey, if we can get this guy back, if he can give us, you know, is it 10 snaps? Is it 50 snaps? That depends on the game. But he's an anchor in the run game. And so excited to have him. I'm really proud of what he's done so far. Thanks, guys.